AC is off in the apartment, and that can only mean one thing. We're working from home on Sam and Cathy.
We only got 15 minutes until we melt.
Yeah, if this podcast is especially short, it's because we just decided let's get the AC back on.
The dog has died, and
Yeah, she's just panicking. She's just hanging out by the AC unit going, normally it's very cool over here and comfortable, but now I can't imagine. Well, welcome. With Sam and Cathy. It's the not subliminal podcast, additional bonus, whatever it is podcast, to Sam Roberts Show.
the companion show.
Companion podcast.
Did you forget?
Yep.
The heat's already getting to your brain.
That's it. I don't need any blockage from my. It's already a very thin path. Any little thing will just disrupt the whole process. Sam Roberts Show, of course, on Sirius XM every night, 9 to midnight. You can hear me and Cathy and a whole cast of other things. But we do this once a week because we want to. So here we are at Sam and Cathy from the apartment instead of the studio. How's the
Because you
weekend?
don't work hard enough already.
I know. I was just thinking that, like, wow, why not disrupt the weekend with something? How's your weekend been?
It's been good. You've been there for most of the stuff that I did.
know.
The carnival. We went to a carnival in, where was it? Franklin, Massachusetts.
Yeah, I don't know. We were visiting friends up in Connecticut.
Only Kevin Undergaro can convince people to drive 2.5 hours
Yeah.
to go to a carnival when it's thunderstorming.
Well, it's so funny.
And then it be closed.
Yeah. He goes like, okay, like come up to the house. And I was like, you know what? And that was Friday. And I was like, it'd be a good time to take a day off.
Yeah.
One day off, one show. Let me throw the best of on. Get in the car, relax, blah, blah, blah. Of course, I mean, the first hour of the car trip was Jess and I fighting about, what was it? Oh, yeah, clutter in the house.
Oh, too
And
much Crystal Pepsi everywhere?
That's, yeah, exactly. She's like, there's too much clutter. And I'm like, good news. I have 7 bottles of Crystal Pepsi. And I have too much nostalgia to really want to drink it very quickly.
Yeah.
I want to just look at it.
You have to save at least one forever.
I'll probably save several.
Oh.
Because I also, every time I see it, because Crystal Pepsi's only back for the month.
Mm-hmm.
It's not back.
Yeah.
And so I had the intern at the show go out, and I just had him call around. He found a place out in Jersey, so he had to drive an hour to a gas station. And he said, just put some aside. And I just gave him all the cash that I had, and so did a couple other people at the office. So he walked back with, I think it was like 20-something bottles, right?
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
And so we just stacked them all up and just looked at them and gazed, and you took selfies. Everybody
I
was
laid
like,
down on the floor in the middle of the Crystal Pepsis.
Yeah. And because I'm so excited about it. Like, and then when we were up in Connecticut, on the way out,
Yeah.
I had to stop and get gas. Yeah, I know.
I need a Crystal Pepsi.
I got the hookup. Although I might sell them to guests,
Oh.
because there's not,
Yeah.
it's limited. But I found them at a 7-Eleven on the way out of Connecticut. So even though I had the fridge literally full of them, I was like, let me get 2
more.
right here.
How long did it take you guys to get there?
It took 3 hours to get
Okay.
there from here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was funny because, like, we drove the 3 hours. I mean, honestly, again, that was probably one of those days off that you need, because when I have these days off, if I'm just in the house, I could probably do a day of just watching stuff and, like, relaxing a little bit.
Catching up.
Yeah, but by the second day, like last night, so that was Friday, like by Saturday night, that was Lila, she's bored already. By Saturday night, I was, on the computer and starting to edit video again. But part of it was I knew it was kind of a far drive, so that meant that I couldn't do stuff. I would have to be in the car. It would take the full day. It was like, okay, this will be good. See good people. It'll be a good time. I didn't realize it was like a 3-hour drive, and then we got there, and they were like, okay, the first carnival was closed, but we're going to a different carnival, and that's actually an hour away from where we are right now. And not in the direction home either.
Meanwhile,
Like an hour farther out.
when I was driving and when you were getting dinner, it was torrentially downpouring. Like, I got a notification on my phone, flash flood warning.
Right. Yeah, and we were sitting in a pizza place and the power went out because of the storm. But, I was... By the way, like, I guess you haven't spent that much time in L.A., but Maria and Kevin were watching the storm, like, it was amazing because they spent so long in LA that they
Oh,
don't
yeah.
get to see thunderstorms.
I was so shocked moving back out here
Yeah.
because it maybe rains in LA like that once every couple years, and it rains in LA maybe like 3 times a year
Right.
at all.
Right, as opposed to here, especially in August when this is a worse August than it's been for a while. But like when it's like this, it'll do that like 3 times, 4 times a week.
That was, I mean, my windshield wipers were on like the highest it could go, and I couldn't see anything.
Were you panicking, or were you just like,
No,
this is what it is?
like I'll just follow the red lights in front of me, go a third of the speed limit, and
Get there eventually. Yeah.
hopefully get some pizza.
Right.
It
Exactly.
was great pizza for breakfast the
It
next
was-
morning.
it was- but yeah, and then we ended up spending about an hour at a carnival. It was a fun carnival, though. Mm-hmm. I was glad to have done it.
So much scamming going on, though. They made us buy tickets, and then they closed down the carnival an hour early.
Right.
So we had like $35 extra of tickets.
Well, I love those. I love those old carnivals, like because it's just like carny culture. I feel like hasn't. It's the one element of society that really hasn't changed. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's still like, town to town, set up the carnival, get the marks in, try to get their money, and then move to the next town. Like it's like be their friend for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then they never existed. Just take as much as you can from them, as much as you can.
Playing the basketball games and realizing from the side that it's an oval, not a circle.
Right. But then you're like, but you know what? Actually, I think it's just the way I'm looking at it from here. I think I can still do it. Let me play. Because he said that people just won. So let me try it. I think I can do it. No, it's an oval. You can't get it in. Like I loved just watching the guys upsell and upsell and upsell, and like you don't even know what's going on. It's just such quick talking, and they're like, "Oh, it's fair. It's like you owe me like $200 now," and you're like, "All right, here's everything I have."
Well, he made it a game. He's like, okay, so $5. 5 plus 5 is 10.
Right, and you're like, "Yeah, that's right."
10 plus 10 is
20.
He's like 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5
20
is what? 20.
Okay,
so
so
it's
we're
like
good?
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, 20. Yeah.
Right, and you're like,
I got it. You got it.
Right.
You're smart.
And
And then it's like, oh, but you owe him $20.
right, and he's like, "That's 20," and you go, "You said 10," and he goes, "But you said 20." Oh, yeah, you got to remember that. If anybody at Carnival goes, "What's 5 and 5 and 5?" Go 7, because hopefully you can get half price.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was a good time. It was a good time. I remember going.
Oh, the fried dough was so good.
Yeah, they have those around here a lot, especially in the summer. And I remember going with my buddy Billy one year, and it was, I don't know, was it his, no, it wouldn't have been his birthday, but I guess it was just pick on Billy day for me then, because we didn't really do anything. We just kind of walked around the I don't know, it's not a boardwalk, but it's the section where they have all the games, one after the other, and they would be like, "Hey, come over here," and every single booth that I passed, I go, "That's Billy, and it's his birthday," and so like it became this 80s horror movie when every creepy carny dude was like, "Why don't you come here, Billy? Billy, why don't you have a try? Come here, Billy."
Oh.
Until we finally got to the end, and it was the guy with hit the thing with the mallet, and it goes ding if you're strong.
Yeah.
That guy had a megaphone. Like, not a megaphone, but actually a PA. A microphone and a PA system. So he's going, "Step right up, everybody's a winner," and the whole park can hear it. And I go, "It's Billy's birthday, and he is not a winner." And into the microphone so the whole park can hear it. And he goes, "Everybody's a winner. Everybody's a winner except Billy." And he's just looking at me. He doesn't want any attention at all. And he's like, "I hate you. I don't know why we hang out. I never have a good time." And I was having a great time. Great time. Have you been to those a lot or not?
I've been
a
to
lot
Coney
of
Island before. Iowa State Fair had some pretty good stuff going on.
Yeah.
When I lived in Iowa.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Deep fried butter.
Uh-huh.
Deep fried Snickers bar. Salad on a stick.
Plus, I mean.
The food is always what I want. Apparently.
And forgive me, but I would imagine the Iowa State Fair is one of the highlights of being in Iowa.
Yes, it is.
It was, huh?
How did you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I just guessed. Oh, the State Fair is in town this
once
week.
a year.
That's exciting. Mm-hmm. So your favorite thing was always the food.
The food, seeing the butter sculptures.
Yeah. I would go like butter. Did they do it in the fall?
No, it was over summer.
The
But
butter
the
sculptures
butter
didn't melt?
sculptures were indoors.
Oh, good. Yeah, they had to keep it in the right environment.
Smart, yeah.
What would they sculpt out of butter?
Everything.
Really?
Yeah, like there was a really, really, really good cow made out of butter that was life size. I found out though, which is kind of disgusting, they reuse the butter every year
For what?
for the sculptures. Like
Like they keep.
well, they might like reuse them for different sculptures. So they'll do a butter sculpture and then they'll like redo it.
Does butter go bad?
I don't know.
It's just like fat, right?
Ugh.
So what? They'll take a sculpture and then they'll like just make a smaller sculpture out of the butter that's already been sculpted,
Or the same size.
or just use the same thing again.
Yeah, repurposing butter.
Good. Well, as long as they keep it cool. Like once it starts melting, that's when you're in trouble. They must take such good care of it. They must have a cool truck and everything.
I would think that you would get random stuff in your butter.
Like what?
I don't know, like dirt.
Yeah, I mean, like I probably wouldn't use that butter on my bread.
No.
But that's sculpture butter. That's totally different. Might as well be clay at that point. But you didn't put your finger in it and just try to taste or anything?
No.
Just the salty goodness?
Gross.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to go on the rides a little bit. But they're terrible rides.
Yeah, they're not great.
All it is very, very dangerous things that spin very fast. Like there isn't any rides there that don't make you nauseous.
I mean, it's one of those things where it doesn't look like a scary ride, but if you think about it, this ride was set up in a matter of like an hour.
Right.
And it's transported town to town.
It folds down and fits on the back of a flatbed.
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, but there's experienced operators with this. And you just look and you're like, well, that man doesn't have teeth and has track marks in his arm. I don't know. Yup, get on. And you can see it's like, wait, I think that's just a truck axle that's keeping this up. There's really nothing. I even felt like the one thing we did was we went down the big slide, with the potato sacks. And I don't know if you felt that way, but when we were climbing up the stairs to get to the top of the slide, I was like, this thing is going to collapse. I wasn't worried about the slide itself.
I said that when we were there. I was like, what's more terrifying is the stairs.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was sitting there like walking up being like, there's nothing supporting this. This thing is definitely going to collapse.
One of my favorite, most terrifying things to do of all the roller coasters I've been on in my life, the one at Coney Island was the scariest.
Why?
Because it looked like it would just fall apart at any second.
You got to go to Playland. Have you ever been, now that you're here?
Playland?
In Rye, New York.
What's
it's
that?
in Westchester.
No.
And it's like a theme park. But it's gotten, like, when you're a kid, like, everybody who grows up around here goes because it's, like, it's a theme park. And it's local.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. And when I say theme park, it's like an upgraded carnival. It's like but it's permanent.
Okay.
Like, you don't pack it up. And it's got roller coasters. But they're small. It's like a permanent upgraded carnival. But it's got... all the rides are old.
Uh-oh.
So, like, they have the Dragon Coaster. The Coney Island, Playland is where they filmed the movie Big.
Okay.
When he goes to the Zoltar machine. You ever see the Fantasy video, Mariah Carey, Fantasy?
Probably.
You're probably slightly too young. It was...
I mean, it's probably on YouTube, so I can look it up.
You can. But that song in 93...
was huge.
It was the coolest song ever. Old Dirty Bastard was in it. Me and Mariah go back like babies and pacifiers.
Have you ever been stuck on a ride?
I feel like I have, but I have no memory of it.
I got stuck on a ride when we went in summer camp. We went to Hershey Park, and I got stuck on the top of one of the rides, and we were stuck up there for an hour and a half, and then all they did when we got off was give us free food vouchers.
Vouchers?
Yeah.
It's like $5 each. You can each get a pretzel if you want. Was it hot?
What?
Being up there?
Well, it was raining at the time. That's why
Oh.
we got stuck. It was miserable.
That
It
sucks.
was the worst.
What ride was it?
It was one of those rides where you go up and then it spins around,
Mm-hmm.
and then you come back down.
But it just went up and then just stopped.
Yeah.
And you're just like, so what'd you do for an hour and a half? Did you panic?
No, I was on the ride with like several other camp mates because it was during summer camp.
Oh, so you all were having fun?
I mean, I wouldn't say it was fun. I would rather be on another ride.
Or on the ground.
Or on the ground.
At the very least.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing about Playland is that all the rides are old. So, like, the Dragon Coaster, that's the big roller coaster there. But it's been there since, like... Has it been there since the 50s, do you think? Like the 1950s. So it's like, you know, the oldest wooden roller coaster. And Six Flags here, like in Jersey, has a wooden roller coaster that's the biggest wooden roller coaster in the world. And it's the fastest wooden roller coaster in the world. But it's a wooden roller coaster that was built within the last 5 to 10 years. So yeah, technology-wise and everything, it's totally up to par. Like, it's not this thing. It's just kind of like an old-school feel. The Dragon Coaster is actually a wooden roller coaster that was put together with hammer and nails like 50 years ago. So you're riding it, and like 25% of your experience is, yay, I'm on this roller coaster. And the real fear, the 75% of the actual like scary roller coaster part
It's termites.
Yeah, you're just looking at it going like, this thing's going to fall apart for sure. Like, you're looking at it, you're like, every time it rains, it's rotting away the wood.
Oh, no.
Like, yeah, termites, the whole thing. It's been there forever. And it's just like, it's rickety the whole time. There's also
like the cart could just fly off.
Absolutely.
At any given moment.
Absolutely. And every summer, at least one person dies at Playland.
What?
All the time. They died on the
How
log
are they
flume.
still open?
Yeah, it's fine.
One kid gets eaten at Disney and they close it down.
Hey, well, look, I think Disney way overreacted. Way overreacted
I know you did.
to that. Look, it's Florida. There's alligators in the water. Let's move on, you know? Let's think about all the
rides
good.
are safe.
The rides are very safe. Disney World is safe. Just don't fucking, you go up to the ledge of the beach and think that, you're 3 and an alligator's not going to pull you in the water. Of course it is.
Well, you think that it's fake. It's part of, like, one of the rides.
Right. It's fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we saw how fun it was. That's what I said, though. All Disney had to do was put a sound effect of a ticking clock right next to every body of water. That way, they don't have to put up signs, because they shouldn't, because it takes away from the magic.
But then people definitely think it's fake and part of the...
But the kids...
They're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go take a selfie with this cute alligator from Peter Pan.
No, because the parents... I mean, if a parent gets eaten by an alligator, fine. I'm totally okay with that. I think everybody should be okay with that. Because an adult needs to know better than to put themselves in a situation where they're going to get eaten by an alligator. But a kid watches the movies and thinks it's all real.
Yeah.
A kid is going to be too scared to hang out by the ticking clock.
I remember doing a news story for one of the shows I worked on in LA where in Colorado they had to close down several mountain trails because people were taking selfies with the bears.
Yeah, exactly. They shouldn't have closed down any of them. They should let all those people get eaten by the bears. All of them.
Solve overpopulation.
But you know what? They probably have dope Instagrams. So maybe it's worth it.
They couldn't upload it because their hand was...
Yeah, because they were destroyed. No, I don't have a problem with that at all. But people died, like, they have this ride where you just sit in a chair. It's like a love seat. It's 2 people to a chair. And it just spins around the room, and it's dark, and it's indoors, and it's like, lights going on and off, and there's music playing. Like, last time I went, it was years ago. Like, I probably haven't been on that ride in probably 15 years. So they were playing Bye 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 by NSYNC. I still remember it.
That's awesome.
But it, like, spins the chairs around and stops and stops and stops. So, like, depending on where you're sitting, I was in the right seat. I was there with my friend Billy again. I don't know why we hung out so much. But I kept, like, I'm also lighter, and I was even lighter back then than he is. So I was in the right position that I kind of just raised my butt up a little bit. And every time the thing came to a stop, like, I just would be flung into him. So I was just slamming into him the whole time.
Oh my
He never, the way the thing moved, he never got his revenge. But on that ride, like, they must have, I don't know if they changed it or not. It's still open, that ride, right? Because multiple people have died on it. They get crushed. Yeah. They, like, either fall out of the chair or whatever it is. It's called the Mind Scramble. And people's heads got crushed. They died on the Mind Scramble. No, I was fine. I could have killed Billy. but I was in the
Could
right
have fallen
seat.
out of your seat.
I would have been cool.
Oh.
Like I'm a survivor, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm super tough. But yeah. People have died on that. They have the log flume, which is exactly what you think it is. It's like a water ride where the log goes down the thing and the
Do they
big
have
splash.
some
People have
sort
died
of-
on the log flume.
Do they have some sort of like stipulation or verbiage outside of the rides that said like ride at your own risk? How do they get away with that? Do people's families sue?
I think everybody just loves Playland because there is no verbiage. You can't kill somebody. There, like people always say, well, if you sign a contract that says, "Oh, I know I might die," that's okay. That's not true. Mm-hmm. There's no contract that exists on the planet that allows you to sign your life away. You can't. So even if you sign a piece of paper,
I mean, people have died from jumping out of an airplane with a parachute, and they sign their life away just in case something happens.
yeah, but that has nothing to do with the contract. That has to do with like, there's a perceived risk. If you jump out of an airplane, there's no the negligence is on your part for jumping out of an airplane. And by the way,
the same thing for going on an old rickety ride.
I would say not. I would say that generally speaking, if you go on a roller coaster, the average person isn't going to think to themselves, "I could be dead."
Die.
Like this is like jumping out of an airplane, because probably less people would do it. Ride roller coasters, that is, if they thought it was as risky as jumping out of an airplane. But if you sign your life away, and you jump out of an airplane, and the parachute doesn't work, even if there's a clause in the contract that says if the parachute doesn't work, that's on you. No, if you take that to court, they'll be like, absolutely not. You're responsible for the death, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So you can't sign that away. So I think people just must love Playland so much that they're like, yeah, it's still good, though. It's fun. I went there when I was a kid. It's been around forever. I went to Hershey Park. How many times? Have you just been the one time?
No, I went, I think 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I went once. And it was kind of like, because this, and I don't know how many people listening know, but one of my things when I take days off, I mean, actually, this is why that trip to Connecticut worked perfectly. Like, road trips for the sake of road trips, I love. To places that, like...
Usually it's to wrestling shows.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll go on a road trip to a wrestling show any day of the week.
Yeah.
But, like, if we're going to take a 3 or 4 day weekend, I'll be like, Jess, we're going back to King of Prussia. We're going to go to the mall there. So, like, I've literally probably taken 3 to 4 road trips to King of Prussia, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
And just gone to the mall. And then drive home. It's like 2.5, 3 hours. Stop at Cracker Barrel. Like, it's a terrible place. There's nothing going on. But it's like, yeah, I'll take that road trip. So that's what we did. One year we decided to take a road trip to Hershey Park and stay at a motel. Even though, like, Six Flags, which is 45 minutes from here, is worlds better. I mean, way better as a theme park.
I don't know if I just have such fond memories of it because I went so many times when I was a kid, but I loved Hershey Park.
I mean, it's
like
kitschy.
That intro ride when you're going around and you're seeing how all the chocolate's made.
Yeah, it's kitschy and it's fun and everything, but it's just a commercial.
Yeah.
It's just branding, they're just tricking you into thinking that, Hershey's is this American thing. And by the way, the biggest tragedy of the trip was we bought all this chocolate because if you buy chocolate at Hershey Park, it's all fresh. Mm-hmm. They make it there because there's a factory right there. So like we bought.
You can smell it.
Oh yeah, we bought a whole bunch of it, and we put it in the car. It all melted.
No.
So like, and we bought like the big bags of like mini Reese's cups.
That's the worst.
Yeah, and so we opened it up and we just had like one big ball of Reese's cups and one big ball.
Sad.
Yeah, so we didn't get to enjoy the freshness really, but that's where I found out I was scared of heights. I had no idea.
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea. So we got there at night, and I was like, Jess, why don't we go hit up Hershey Park now and just see what's open? I think it's open for an hour, so we'll go. And in my mind, I'm like, let's go now, hang out there for an hour, get the lay of the land, and then tomorrow come back with a game plan.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, when I go to Disney World, like it's like, okay, the night before, okay, we're going to this park, magic hours. That means we get in at 8 a.m. We're going to go right here, get a fast pass there, go over there, blah, blah, blah. Like everything is planned out. That way we hit it up at 8 o'clock in the morning. We're out of there by noon. We've done everything, and there's as little line waiting as possible. And then maybe we'll go back at night. Maybe we'll go in the pool, whatever. But it's you have to do it like that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get destroyed. But so that's what I was like, let's go to Hershey Park and get the lay of the land and hang out for an hour. And we go, and the only thing that was open was the gondolas. The little carts that are on a cable that take you up real high throughout the park.
Yeah, so then you can see where everything is, too.
Right, and your legs kind of hang out from the bottom and everything. So I'm like, Jess, let's get on this gondola. And she's like, really? Why? And I'm like, it'll be fun. It's open. Come on. And I run for it, and she follows me. And we just jumped on the gondola. And we start going up, and Jess was like, oh, my gosh, you can see everything. And I'm like, yeah. And then we start going up, and I start panicking, like in my head.
What?
Going like, oh, my God. Like I was gripping onto everything. I wouldn't move. Like I wouldn't turn to look at Jess. My neck was everything. I wouldn't move. And it was part of it. Like all I could picture was slipping out, my butt just slipping, and me going under the bar, out from the bottom of the gondola, and crashing down to the ground and dying.
You would be awful on ski lifts then, too.
Terrible. It was that thing, but ski lifts are higher.
How did you go that long in your life and not know this?
I guess I hadn't been in that scenario. I didn't know. Like, it wasn't like I didn't look at it and go like, oh, that's scary. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that right now.
So do you hate roller coasters then?
No, I don't mind roller coasters.
Because there's something underneath you?
There's something underneath, and it's like there's so much adrenaline going if it's a good roller coaster that it's just kind of fun.
Don't go on the Superman roller coaster. Six Flags.
I don't go on the ones where my legs hang. Never. I like the other ones where you can sit and da-da-da. But, like, we passed, and it was also, what really did it, too, was, how, like, the gondolas held up by these giant iron poles?
Yeah.
Right? When we got to the top, I saw the top of the pole, like, right next to me, right up close. And it was just immediately, you're not supposed to, that's so tall. Like, when you're on the ground, it's so high up. It's like 3-4 stories up. As a person, you're not supposed to be able to see the top of it that close. If you can see it, like if you could touch the top of that thing, you're in peril.
I don't think I've ever heard of an accident on a gondola, though.
Well, that doesn't mean it couldn't happen. And you haven't heard of every accident either. Not all of them. You've heard of a lot. That's true.
True.
But not all of them. You heard that one in Disney about the alligator. I'll give you credit for that. But there are other accidents that you haven't heard of. Maybe gondola accidents. And honestly, if there were gondola accidents, I would try to cover that up too.
I feel like more people have died of like chicken nuggets or something.
Maybe.
Like a chicken nugget related frying injury.
But you know what? I wouldn't ride a shark, but more people have been killed by vending machines than sharks. Right?
You could die at any moment.
That's right. The dog just got so scared.
She's like, no, master.
She just ran over to Jess. Mom, Dad's dead.
Who's going to feed me now?
Yeah. Can we eat his body? But yeah.
Just eat everything. She tried to eat Jess's backpack earlier.
But I was sitting there, and like I just wasn't. Jess thought I was just giving her the cold shoulder, and I was like, Jess, you don't need to make a big deal out of this, but I'm freaking out right now. And I was like, I wasn't moving. I was speaking slowly, and she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I'm just freaking out. I'm just freaking out right now. We just have to get down. I'm just staying still, and I'm freaking out right now. And she had never seen me that freaked out before. Like, it was like, she was like, okay.
Was it super manly and attractive?
She said it turned her on, and it did. I'm sure we had intercourse that night, just thinking about it. She was like, oh, man, if you were that stiff, if you were that stiff on the gondola, I can only imagine. Was all of you stiff? And I was like, no, some of me was small and shriveled up. But I survived it.
She just liked your vulnerability.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Brought you closer.
Mm-hmm. But, man, I was like, I had no...
She just rolled her eyes.
And then, after that, I confirmed it. We went to Chicago with Opie and Anthony one year, and it was in the summer. By the way, like, I wish I could make fun of you about that city because that's where you lived, but I love Chicago.
Chicago's great. The people are great. The food is great.
It's awesome.
The city's great.
It's awesome. I love that city. But we went up to Sears Tower, and they have those glass boxes.
Oh, yeah. I've never done those.
You should do it. It's fun.
I want to.
But, like, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. step out into the glass box. Like, it's obviously, so what they do, the Sears Tower is like, at one point it was the tallest building in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's still one of. The Burj Tower is taller, but I think it's taller than the Empire State Building. And
Yeah, it's taller than any building in America.
Right. Tallest building in America. And on one, not on the top floor, but on one of the very top floors, they built these two thick plexiglass boxes that protrude out of the building. So you can literally walk into the boxes and you look down, it's glass.
Hundreds of floors.
Right. And you see all the way down, and it's amazing because you can see the view. You can see out to, is it Michigan that you can see?
I don't know what side of the building it's on, so I'd assume either Lake Michigan or just over the entire city.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you can pretend you're the Dark Knight. Because you see the Dark Knight?
Yeah.
The whole thing, Chicago.
Gotham is Chicago.
Yeah, totally. Dark Knight Rises is not. Mm-mm. I watched that last night.
But you can see
underrated. But Dark Knight was.
What is it? Lakeshore Drive, Lower Wacker, Upper Wacker.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? I haven't been there so long.
But I go out into the box, and like I could barely get one foot in. I was like, I'm freaking out. And they were like, they had to like push me in. To the point where, like the whole time I was in, I had to at least keep a hand out. Like, I had to hold on to the wall.
Because that would save you.
Exactly. And then I look at the box next to me, and there's, like, a 4-year-old just, like, crawling around and jumping around in it and stuff. And I'm like, somebody's got to take care of that kid because these boxes are going to go. The boxes have never gone even close. Nothing happened. But the whole time, I had to keep a hand outside because I was so petrified. I think Opie posted a video of it on his YouTube channel. Of just me acting like a pansy man, but it was scary.
Terrified.
I am terrified of heights. What can I tell you? I didn't see it coming. They showed how they clean them, though. Do you know how they clean them?
How?
Like they actually bring the boxes are on a track, so they remove like the flooring, and then the boxes actually come in.
Oh, that's terrifying. That it's like.
And then so you have to get behind the box, so you're cleaning the part that normally just hits the sky.
Yeah.
Which means so there's the box, then there's you standing on this lowered track, and then behind you is just a big hole in the Sears Tower.
Yeah.
Like behind you, it's just outside where you could fall and die. Crazy. I mean, I used to drive to work, and like, I would drive by the George Washington Bridge. There's an exit there, and watch as these construction guys still, like, it's not like it's the 50s anymore. And I mean, they had a cable around them and stuff, but they'd be on like the outside of this thing that was like, 20, 30 stories up.
You're never going to be a window washer?
No, I don't think so. I work
not plan B.
We work on the 36th floor at Sirius XM.
Yeah.
You haven't been there during the day, really.
Oh, are there people that just come and wash
We've seen the window washers, and like, they're just waving. Hi. I'm like, you're 36 floors up. In that thing, like the least stable thing on the planet. And you're just waving, hello.
Just the wind blows a little bit too hard.
Yeah, and you're done. Man, oh man. Well, incredible. What's your favorite amusement park?
My favorite?
Yeah.
I really like Six Flags in Chicago.
I haven't been in the one in Chicago. Have you been in the one in Jersey yet? Six Flags Great Adventure?
I think I went to one in L.A., around L.A. That one was pretty good. And then, of course, love Disney.
Disney. Have you've been to Disney World?
Both of them.
Okay. Disneyland, I don't think I've been to.
I also really want to go to Harry Potter Land at Universal.
But you know what they're doing? I couldn't care less about Harry Potter Land.
I
But
know
you know what?
But I want to. That's goals. One day.
You know what they're doing? I first got mad because I thought they were doing this at Disney World. Then I realized it was just what Disneyland has also California Adventure or something.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Star Wars park?
No, I heard about that.
That's going to be awesome.
But I think they're doing that something like that in Florida too. Or no.
Are they? I thought it was just in LA.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I thought they were doing this at the Florida park, and I got pissed. But then I realized it was just the California one. They have a Tower of Terror in California, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not going to be there anymore.
Okay.
And they're turning the Tower of Terror into like this futuristic space age thing, and they're turning it into a Guardians of the Galaxy ride.
Oh.
You're excited by that?
I mean,
if they had done that in Orlando, I would have rioted.
Freak out.
Rioted. It's the best. I love. Yeah, I see. That's the other like Tower of Terror. I love Tower of Terror. It's up way high, and then the elevator actually drops. Still dope because it's a fun.
Chicago used to have this Disney indoor. God, I forgot what it was called. It was just like the best thing in the world. Where it was like an indoor. They had a couple virtual rides and then a ton of games in Chicago.
Oh, that's
and they
interesting.
closed it down after like 3 years.
But it was a Disney thing?
Yeah, it was a Disney owned entity, and it was just a building, and they had like an Aladdin ride and something else.
But it was all like virtual, like you'd be in the capsule and
yeah,
it'd be...
it was like a Dave and Buster's on steroids, all Disney.
That's cool.
Plus like a couple virtual rides.
They're probably experimenting to see, because they would have opened those across the country, I'll bet.
Yeah. I don't know that it did very well, or it didn't do as well as they'd hoped. So they
Well, if it's not there, yeah, I would imagine. Unless everybody died.
That was great.
You loved it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like those
I forgot
virtual
about that.
roller coasters. They're kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cathy.
Yes.
People can follow you on Twitter at Catherine Kelley with a C. Cathy Kelley on Instagram. And what's the Facebook? What's the WWE Facebook?
Catherine Kelley WWE.
Okay,
Just to
that's
make
the
it
one.
confusing.
Get all those, used to Facebook Lives and stuff. Oh, and
Live event? Is that what you're going to plug?
No.
Oh. Well, that's big.
before the live
Couple
event,
days. Yes.
if you're listening to this on Monday, then tonight, and if you're not listening to this on Monday, then go on demand and get it, because Cathy Kelley is with Corey Graves interviewing Mick and Noelle Foley to preview the whole Holy Foley reality show.
Yeah.
Which I'm very excited to see. It's a full half-hour show, which is it? I don't know. It's tough to say what's the biggest thing you've done since you've been with WWE, because obviously a lot of the stuff you've done is big. You've done stuff on the NXT show. I think the red carpets you've done are really big. This is probably, it's the most Cathy in one shot, right?
I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I did that NXT post show like after
That's true too. All right,
Takeover Dallas. That was like an entire.
You know what? Maybe I should write this. There's a little too much Cathy
The
going on.
Holy Foley preview show is pretty cool though, because like you get a bunch of clips from the show.
Oh, good.
Mick is hilarious in it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. And I told you on Sirius that I was paranoid that I was going to get cut out because Holy Foley filmed on the show. I'm hearing rumors that I was not cut out.
Oh.
So that's good news.
Is that the biggest thing that you've done ever?
I wouldn't say it's the biggest thing I've done ever, no. But it's big. So check that out. And, of course, yeah, we'll be at Caroline's on Thursday. If you haven't already, email sam@notsam.com.
That's got to be almost at capacity.
It is.
If not
I will
already.
probably have more. I'll probably have the list that's so big there'll be standing room, possibly, especially since I haven't announced the guests yet.
It's going to be big.
But yeah, email sam@notsam.com with the subject line Caroline's event and whether you want 1 or 2 tickets. I'll probably announce the guests on social media this week before the event. And if I have to cut off the list, you want to be in before I cut it off. So if you want to go, trust me.
I know who they are, and I'm so excited.
And yeah. And she
like
works
I would
there.
pay money for that.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I work at both Sirius and WWE. So if that says anything.
That's right. Check it out. We'll see you next week. Bye.